Lois, Jimmy, and the Man of Steel are back. Just three best friends living their best lives.
Let's just go with my plan.
Well, what's your...
Battling the worst supervillains in the universe.
With this many toys to play with, we can finally take out Superman.
What's your name?
Lex Luthor.
Krypton is coming. My Adventures with Superman Season 2 premieres May 25th from midnight to 1 a.m. on Toonami. Next day on Max. Heroes unite.
We have to interrupt this program to bring you some breaking news.
Back in the day, Toonami was your after-school vibe.
Stay behind me!
This is trouble. I can feel it. Prepare yourself, sailor!
Now we're taking you back. Toonami Rewind premieres May 31st at 5 p.m. If you squint really hard, they almost look new.
I'm so glad to be alive.
Only on Adult Swim.
Hello everyone, welcome to Toonami Therapy. Today on May 16th of 2024, I'm Michael.
Yeah, hello, I'm Tommy.
And this is our podcast, Toonami Therapy, where we will not actually be discussing anything about Toonami this week. Because it was just reruns, Ninja Kamui reruns. Well, I guess we discussed it when we mentioned that it had reruns, but that's all you're probably getting from us today. So, in the meantime, we'll instead be talking about a bunch of other anime things we've been watching. So, the non-Toonami shows, as we call them. So, let's get into them, then. This might end up making it a shorter podcast, but then again, for all we know, we'll end up talking more, so who knows. All right. So, we've got episode 24 of Shangri-La Frontier. So, Sunraku is trying to go to get the, actually I can't remember exactly what he was trying to get, but he was trying to get some item in the game. You know, he's trying to get the thing that can make the other thing, basically. He fights a bunch of giant glass scorpions, which are really strong and keep killing him. And so he keeps trying over and over, manages to do better, except then when he finally is able to get the thing that he most wants, he isn't able to get it and dies again. So, and that was basically the episode.
Yeah, so are we just not going to see the other two of his group anymore, and it's just going to be all Senraku the rest of the season? Well, because
sorry, there's only one episode left this season, so
so I guess that is how it's gonna go. Yeah, I don't find that this series works very well whenever it's just Senraku going off and trying to complete a quest. It feels like watching someone play a video game, which is usually not all that entertaining, although sometimes it can be. But yeah, I didn't find this episode all that interesting because it was just Senraku tries and then he fails and he tries again, he fails and then he succeeds, and that was pretty much all there was to it.
Yeah, I kind of feel that this episode, unfortunately, was mostly the worst aspects of this series. Because, again, we don't get the other character. I mean, in fact, we don't even get that much interaction between Sunraku and Emil. Like, there is some bits of that, which are basically generally the better parts of the episode. But so much of it is just him fighting by himself. And that's it. And that, when he's just fighting by himself like that, is usually the weakest parts of the series, and that was basically this episode. So yeah, unfortunately, a kind of underwhelming episode on the whole. I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd
Yeah, unfortunately, not really much to say about it because it's just like he just tries and he tries again, and finally he succeeds, and that's pretty much it. You know.
Mm-hmm. I'd also, yeah, like like I said, the best parts of the episode were when he's interacting with Emil, just because he's interacting with someone. I mean, the best part of the episode would be the Shangri-La Frontier, the SLF theater at the end, where, what do you know, Pencilgon's there, so of course it's better than the rest. Even actually, she's not that big a part of it. It's mostly him just misunderstanding something she said, but it's still way more funny and entertaining. So. I don't know what we're going to get in the last episode. But I know the others will show up again. I know they in the series. I don't know the specifics. I just know they do show up again. I mean, the plot makes it obvious they will. I just don't know exactly when it will. We'll see more of that in season 2. But yeah, unfortunately, this is definitely one of the weakest episodes of this series that we've had for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So we'll move from that to my teen romantic comedy SNAFU, episode 33. Okay. So in our episode, basically they're still going on with the plan of, hey, we'll try to set up an alternate prom, and it'll be worse than the one that the others are doing, and that'll make the people in charge of the school use theirs because it looks better, what, something like that. So they get some other people to help them out. They end up going over to try to make the thing seem more credible. They go over to some people from a different school where I would not have expected they would suddenly turn into a rap battle. And yeah, then they basically keep working. Then they end up talking with Yukino and Yui. So I mean, them and Hachiman talk because, well, we want to have the three have an actual conversation. When was the last time the three had a conversation? I don't think they had one in the last episode, did they?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this episode. I thought that the rap battle was a little bizarre, to say the least. And then in the preview for the next episode, they did another one, which was amusing. I continue to feel like I'm missing the joke, and there's something to it that I'm not getting, and I feel like, well, why am I not understanding this? And it keeps on happening, and I'm also starting to wonder, is there ever going to be a romance in this romantic comedy? Because we are getting closer and closer to the end of season 3, and I don't see it happening. But in spite of me saying all that stuff, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was interesting how Yui gave her usual "yeah, hello," and then Hachiman turned it into some sort of like secret code or something. I don't know what he was doing with it, but yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, the part where he does try to convince all the others to say "yeah, hello" as like some sort of rule. That was funny. The rap battle was just so completely random. It was funny. I even like some just jokes there, like the part where when he's doing that, and you just see her briefly. She's just holding up her phone to record it. There's that. I can't remember. I think we've seen them before, but I can't remember the specifics. But the other two characters from the other school they're talking to, it was funny how the girl just keeps agreeing with everything the guy says. so that was funny. There were the first half was pretty funny. I feel like honestly, this episode had more made me laugh more than the previous episodes of this season so far put together.
Yeah.
A lot of funny stuff. It kind of dipped off a little in the second half where it turned a bit more serious, but at least there were some kind of nice bits there. It didn't occur to me before, but I think here's my guess, honestly. It's going to be that this actually would be really pretty funny if it happened, although I worry that maybe if it happens, the series will play it for drama, which is that Hachiman's big plan, make the alternate prom proposal that'll look worse and get them to accept the other one, will end up backfiring because the school will go with his one instead.
Yeah, reading between the lines, that's kind of what. It sounds funny, but now that we think of it, it sounds too cliche. So, I don't know. I don't have a clue, fortunately, for once. Unlike these stupid people who feel they need to spoil Oshino Code to me, I don't know anything about this show, so hopefully it has at least some sort of a surprising ending. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, but it is definitely, it was a pretty fun episode, and good one. We'll see what happens next, I guess. Let's see. Okay, I guess we've move on to our next show, the next one. Yeah, Full Metal Panic, second grade, episode 4.
Yeah, so we're in a situation here because, as it turns out, that one hostage who they freed was actually a bad guy, which makes it kind of funny that only C was a bad guy and C was the one they freed first. Like, if they would have freed any of the other people, none of this would have happened. But C goes and C starts a fight with Mao, and then it turns out the bad guys have got someone who's like a mole who is stealing their stealing all of their communication and giving it to the bad guys. So then, like halfway through, they say, well, just remember that thing that joke that someone made. And it was like, okay, what's this? And the joke had something to do with the vicious cycle of all cretins are liars. And that meant that was a code word for saying that everything you do the opposite of what you say you're going to do. So then that way the entire communication thing gets broken. He can't steal it anymore because they're not telling the truth anymore. So then they're able to do that and at least get a better result with that. Some reason I can't remember exactly how this episode ended. I don't know why I can't remember it, but yeah, it seems things are going quite a bit better ever since they changed what they were doing on that.
Basically, if I remember correctly, it's a success. They managed to get all this stuff, solved. The bad guys do get away. At least the important bad guys get away. Oh yeah, we do get confirmation that the guy who showed up to attack Sosuke at the end of the previous episode, he was that bad guy from the first season who looked like he died, but he didn't die. So I guess he's still around. So that was the episode. It's kind of funny because I remember last episode you were saying that there's only about 30 seconds of Kaname. Well, that's more than we got this episode because I don't think she appeared at all, even in the preview.
I don't even think she was mentioned. I don't even think she was mentioned.
Yeah. It's So that was kind of, so yeah, has there ever been any previous episode where she didn't show up at all? I remember there was that like sort of trilogy of episodes where Sosuke had to go off and join those other guys, and then they kind of got stuck in that place. But if I remember correctly, we still saw some bits of Kaname. It would just kind of randomly cut to her every now and then, and she wasn't doing anything important, but she was on. So I'm like, is this the first episode where she just doesn't show up at all?
Yeah.
So
I know she does play a big role down the stretch, though. So it's not like they've written her out of the show completely. So we'll see.
Yeah, so I kind of would have liked her to be around, although I will say that of all what I guess you could call the, for lack of a better term, pure fighting episodes, the ones that are just straight up like all serious action, this was probably one of the better ones of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But I still would have liked to have seen a little more of the other characters. Although it is a little funny that that was their plan, to remind everyone of something that happened in a meeting, because they're like, aha, maybe the mole won't know it. Well, what if the mole was in the meeting?
Yeah.
They were fortunate that it was like the one guy involved heavily in the operation who was not at that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say about this one. I mean, nothing else to say about it other than that it was kind of weird that the evil, what's her name, the bad guy, I'm like looking at, wow, that seems a really impractical outfit to fight in. Maybe it was because she was just in that in order to be in disguise, but I was thinking, yeah, that seems like weird. I mean, you can say the same thing about yours assassin outfitting in a Spy Family, but you know, that's kind of a comedy, so I'm more willing to go with that. All right. So, we've got that. Then we move on to Dark Gathering episode 11. So, Keitaro and Yayoi end up going off to what they describe as an, I think, S rank, Dane, like, place, or did it say that? Well, that's what the episode title said. Maybe it didn't explicitly say it was that in the episode. Anyway, so they go there because they're trying to find the ghost to catch them so they can get more powerful. But then the ghost manages to, let's see, she does some sort of weird hallucination thing to Yayoi to make her think that the ghost is Keitaro, who gets separated from her. And then it looks like then Keitaro's able to find them, but it looks like Yayoi died. I'm going to assume she's alive. Well, I know she's alive. They're not going to kill her off like that. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, what are we going to do? And then that's where it ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found the problem with this episode is that I've just been too desensitized to the horror aspects of the show that, like, I'm just expecting them now. And so whenever something scary happens, it doesn't scare me at all. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah, that was going to happen. And that's the problem with having a show that's like all horror all the time, is that it just eventually gets to the point where it doesn't really it doesn't really affect the viewer. I do think, though, that this was still a pretty good episode, and I'll never get old. One thing that I won't ever get tired of is hearing Yayoi say in that monotone voice, "Let's go." Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's always funny.
That is funny, yeah. That I didn't really mind it not being that scary on the grounds that, I know one of the series genre is horror, but I never really found it that particularly scary. I mostly kind of saw it as more of like sort of an adventure series that like just involves ghosts and stuff. I just wish there was a little more. I think, though, what I really liked is when they had like some comedy stuff to accompany the horror. And I kind of feel outside of course, the Let's Go, which is, yes, I agree, always funny. There wasn't too much in the way of comedy in this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, move there. Okay, then we got KonoSuba episode 22. So, our main characters have gotten invited to the to meet with Princess Iris, I can't remember what number princess she was. I feel like they always say it, but I can't remember. Was she like the first princess, the second princess, something? I don't know. They end up going there to have dinner. For the first time, I think, ever, Darkness ends up being the straight man to the group. Who, of course, continually almost blow things while she tries to keep them respectful. Ultimately, despite some kind of near shaves there, including a part where Kazuma gets accused of making up stuff, which he embellished it, but he technically told the truth. But he's able to like kind of prove him to like say get them to trust him, and then I guess it's all done. It seems all done except Iris, the princess, decides, hey, I'm going to because she just basically grabs Kazuma and pulls him back with her because she wants to spend more time with him.
Yeah, so I have to ask, like, why? Like, why did she pull Kazuma back with her to take her away from everyone else? Like what? Like, I couldn't figure out why she was suddenly so interested only a few minutes after accusing him of being a liar, you know?
I think she was, I think it'll probably be explained next episode, but I think it's because she just was interested in his stories and wanted to hear more of them.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of concerned about this possibly. Now, I don't know. Fortunately, I haven't spoiled like Osino Ko here, but I hope that we still get all four characters and hopefully they're together as much as possible, because the show never works whenever even one of them is missing. And so hopefully it isn't what I think it is, and it's like some arc where Kazuma is separated from everyone else, and we'll see. Is this the character who everyone in the poll gives such high ratings to?
Iris? Yeah, that in some character popularity poll from a while, she was like second place, if I recall correctly, after Megumin. So I'm kind of curious to see, okay, well, let's see why she's so popular. She didn't make that big of an impression in this episode, but it was just the introduction. So we'll see how it goes by the end of the season. But apparently, yeah, let me double check and see if I can find this. Let's see. Where was that poll I saw? I don't know exactly where I found it, but I remembered noticing she was really high, and I was like, oh, wow, well, we haven't even met this character yet, so we'll see what happens there.
Who was ranked number one?
In the first, that was Megumin.
Oh, well, then the poll doesn't have any credibility anyway. So. Yeah. All seriousness, though, I am interested in finding out if she's going to help the show, or if it's not going to be as funny. We'll see. Okay.
I can't find the first offhand, but I did find the second. The second one, I remember, apparently there is some comic in which Aqua was trying, that got a bunch of attention, in which Aqua was like asking people to vote for her, which apparently helped her because she got first place in the second poll.
Oh, really?
So here's the order. There's looking at this. There's Aqua by a very significant amount. Actually, I don't know what these I don't know. This just says PT, assuming for point. Like, is this like how many people vote? Do people have different points? I don't know exactly how this goes, but
It's how many electoral votes they got.
well, wow, that's a pretty big electoral college if they've got millions. But okay, so in first place was Aqua at about a whopping 1.5 million in what electors or whatever. Megumin got 300,000 about in second place. Megumin. Then Darkness was so she was well behind Aqua, then well behind Megumin, but in terms of points, but still third place was Darkness. Then after that, things were a bit closer. So it was, let's see, the names are in Japanese, but I can recognize them. So once again, we got the orders: Aqua, Megumin, Darkness, Iris, Eris, Union, Cosma, Wiz, Chris, and I feel dumb, but I don't actually know what character this one is supposed to be. Does this say Boniru? Haniru? I can only read the yeah, I can't tell if that's the Ba or the Ha symbol. Hang on, I'm looking at an image. Let me see an actual one that gives the actual names someplace, because I'm just looking at the katakana, and that makes things harder to. Okay, oh, Vanir. Okay, Boniru was Vanir. Wow. Darn Japanese and its inability to make things clear. Okay, so just to repeat quick: Aqua, Megumin, Darkness, Iris, Union, Eris, Kazuma, Wiz, Chris, Vanir. Okay. Yep, although, the points I'm seeing on this other one is point numbers I see are different here, so that's a little weird. Still same order, regardless of whatever it was. That's how it goes. Okay, sorry, I went off on a tangent again.
No problem. I find that funny that Aqua won by like 800,000 votes or something, and that seems fixed.
There's apparently there was a goofy little like video and comic in which Aqua was trying to like ask people for votes. I think she introduces, I don't know if this was actually a thing, but she like at least mentions in it like the 50-point button for Aqua, which is Axis believers voting specifically for Aqua. I don't know if that was an actual option or if that was just a joke in the comic, but yeah, so that's how it all went. So anyway, even in that, Iris is fourth place, so she's a popular character, and I'm kind of curious to see why.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess so yeah, on the whole, I thought it was a pretty good episode. There was a few bits of kind of, I thought, dumb fan service, particularly at the start, but it moved past that stuff. You know, I want to say I've always like been complaining, and that is the thing. I don't think the fan service or the sexual jokes or something in KonoSuba or most series are funny, which is why I don't like them. But I'm not completely opposed to them, because the joke where Kazuma keeps accidentally, whenever he uses his steal ability, actually steals someone's underwear, that's actually pretty consistently funny. And that was funny in this episode.
I like the part where they try to put Megumin in a dress and it wouldn't fit because she was too flat. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah. But I just think it was especially funny for, like I said, Darkness to actually be the straight man for once to everyone. Okay. So, that's it for KonoSuba. Then we get the, new show we checked out. Kaiju number 8, episode 1. So basically, we find out that there are giant kaiju that are attacking places, and we see and we start out with an action scene of a bunch of people fighting it and killing it. But that's not what the series is about right now. It turns out it's instead we focus on the people who actually have to clean up the giant kaiju after the battles. With our main character Kafka, who wanted to be part of the kaiju fighting squad, but ended up not being able to make it, and he's too old now to qualify. Another person who starts working at their group. Again, their job is literally just to actually get these things away by, cutting it up, transporting all this stuff away. It makes you wonder, were there I can't remember. Well, I'll get to that later. Anyway, he wants to join in, and they end up not getting along, but at first, but get later. Ultimately, they end up having to deal with a kaiju attack. We do find out that they up the age requirement. So yeah, Kafka can maybe go and join the defense force, I think is what they're called. So he decides, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then in a twist that would probably be more surprising if not for the fact that the title of the episode is The Man Who Became a Kaiju, he ends up being apparently this weird insect thing just goes into his mouth and then turns him into a sort of small kaiju, and they're like, what? And then the episode ends.
So what does kaiju mean in Japanese?
It just means monster.
Okay, so essentially we're just saying monster. Okay. Yeah, so you're probably interested to hear what my thoughts are on this. And honestly, I could not tell the difference between this and Attack on Titan. Almost everything was it was something that Attack on Titan did in its first season, and I was surprised that a show would be that similar to it, but at the very end, whenever you just have this random insect show up and turn them into a kaiju, I thought that was a pretty nice twist. Though at the same time, that's kind of Attack on Titan 2 anyway, because we know Eren turns into a Titan. So ultimately, I feel like all I did was watch the first episode of Attack on Titan. So I'm kind of hesitant to buy into this series because I'm just afraid it's the same show, and that's the reason it's so popular, because it basically is that same show that everyone besides me likes. So it for the moment it would not pass the 3-episode rule, but fortunately it has 2 episodes to go. So
okay. In regards to the Attack on Titan parallels, obviously there are a bunch. It's about, there's this world that is being attacked by giant monsters, and there are people who fight the giant monsters, and the main character wants to fight the giant monsters too, because bad stuff happened to him in his backstory because of the giant monsters, and then he gets the power to turn into, unlike in Attack on Titan, he doesn't turn into a giant monster, just a human-sized monster, but still. And so you can definitely see that, but I think there are a number of, I feel kind of, even just in this first episode, differences. First of all, it's much more efficient. They got through all of that in one episode. Attack on Titan took if you don't count the episodes where they were, in the training and stuff, it takes it takes 6 episodes or something for all of this to get through on Attack on Titan, and this one efficiently did it in 1. There's also, it's just a bit more light hearted. Kafka is, I think, a pretty different character than Eren. But yeah, I can definitely see there are a lot of similarities, especially at the start of this series. Although it did make me wonder, it's been so long since I remembered. I can't remember. When they kill the Titans in Attack on Titan, do the Titan bodies actually disintegrate or something? Or are they just left there? Because if they're just left there, then that brings up the question, who does clean those up? Like, is there a group in the Attack on Titan world that actually has the job of, like, transporting all the giant Titan stuff and cleaning things up? Because that was the focus on this one. Let's see. A few other comments I wanted. One thing that is interesting, I've seen a number of people comment on this. The main character, Kafka, he's 32 years old. This is a shonen series. That puts him in, I'm pretty sure, the top, like, 0.1% of the age percentile of shonen protagonists. Because there's very few that are even in their 30s. And, I mean, I guess there are some older a bunch of older ones if you're willing to count people who, like, have, like, superhuman lifespans, like Frieren, for example. But Kafka's definitely up there. So it is interesting to see a shonen series that has a much older main character. Let's see. Oh, and also, you might not have noticed it. This was a surprising thing. The ending theme, that song is sung by One Republic. So they actually got a pretty notable English band to do the ending theme. So,
yeah, that's surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. The last thing I would say is I was a little surprised. When I watched it, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, there's actually quite a bit of violence in this. There's that's the weird part. When at the beginning, when the people kill the giant kaiju, and there's this big and you see like all this blood rain from the sky after they kill it. I'm just thinking, but like it shouldn't be continually raining like that. It should just be a brief thing, and yet it keeps going on. How does that work? Okay. So,
I noticed they blur some stuff out for some reason.
Yeah, they blur out the parts where they're cutting open the intestines to try to do stuff, because I don't know. I guess you can have all that blood, but you have to censor out fecal matter. Honestly, I think the joke worked better that way. Anyway, if when the fact they just censor it and you don't see it, I think just made the joke funnier, because it means the characters are dealing with what you don't have to see. So anyway, yeah, that was the episode. I did enjoy it more than you, but I do know a bit more about what comes later. Hearing your reaction makes me think, oh, I wish maybe we had watched another episode or two, because now I'm suddenly very curious about how you'll react to the second and third episodes. Well, we'll find out next week. I don't think I have anything else to say about that. So, yeah, let's go into the top 3 rankings.
Okay, so third place, kind of by default, would be Kaiju number 8. Second place is KonoSuba, and first place, getting back in the top 3, is SNAFU.
Those are the literal 3 that I was about to say. Literally.
Oh, really?
I for once, because I normally like always forget to write it down and just like kind of ad-lib it. Or is it ad-lib? Ad-lib? I don't know. I think it's ad-lib. Let me check. Oh, no, it's ad-lib. Never mind. So, it's with a D, not a B. Well, I mean, a D at the end of the first word, but there is a B at the end of the second word.
Yeah.
Where was I? Right. I actually had it planned out for this, and then I'm hearing you describe it. I'm like, wait, are we going to have the same 3? And then we did. Okay.
Yep.
So that's our discussion on those. I don't have anything to talk about in the world of anime. Do you have exciting things or not exciting things to say?
Well, I did want to ask you, like, what week are we on the Toonami stuff? Is this weekend again another week of reruns?
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, we'll slowly get something back.
After that, we've got, let's see, we got 2 episodes of My Adventures with Superman, and then they have, I think One Piece and Naruto. And then the week after that, I don't think they've announced it officially, but I'd assume at that point we'll probably have, okay, we got 1 Superman episode, 1 Zom 100 episode, and then we'll have the One Piece Naruto. Although I think they're going to be, was it when I remember they were going to have I was looking. I know they were going to have the Rick and Morty anime premiere at some point. But that might not be until later in the year. I just know it's sometime this year. I was wondering, are they planning to premiere that then? Maybe they'll do it to replace Naruto, because Naruto's getting towards the end. But yeah, so that's how it goes. But this week there's nothing on Toonami other than a bunch of reruns.
Okay, so a couple of announcements. Well, first of all, I failed to watch Cowboy Bebop this week. It's become such a dread that I couldn't bring myself to watch it. So I'm gonna try to get through this stupid thing. I just want to know how that final episode either leaves things open or finishes things up. I just am curious, because I have this morbid curiosity where I want the final episode to be like wide open, where they're like hoping for a second season and then they never got one. Like I have this morbid desire to see this thing flop, because it deserves the flop. And I
just want to make it clear to anyone who's listening for the first time. He is referring to the live action Cowboy Bebop. Please don't get upset. We're not talking about the anime.
Yeah, I should say that. Yeah, it's not the anime. I have nothing but good things to say about the anime. So I decided to drop that Banished. So I don't even know the whole title of it. Banished from the Heroes.
Banished from the Heroes Party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside.
Yeah. So I made it 6 episodes, and then I was just like, there's too much wish fulfillment. Just too much wish fulfillment for me. So that's gone. I did pick up something because I read a review on a blog that, like, the only blog that survived over all these years. There's still one that's still going, and they mentioned this show that was on Amazon Prime Video, and I'm like, well, I happen to have that for some strange reason. So I'm like, okay, I'll just watch it. So it's called Tonbo, and it's about golf, and it's a little closer to. It's not as close to Birdie Wing as it is close to the case of me, a pro golfer, being reincarnated as my little sister's putter. It's more like that than it is like Birdie Wing, because in this show, the main character only uses one club, which, if you see, they kind of make it out like she can do all these things with that one club, but in reality, it is very difficult to play golf with one club. In fact, it's next to impossible to play golf with one club. With a 3-iron, she uses a 3-iron, so that's good for medium range shots. That's terrible for putting, and that's not going to give you very long drives off the tee. So, and plus she uses that always to get out of bunkers, and a 3-iron usually wouldn't get you out of a deep bunker. You would need some sort of wedge. So it's already unrealistic in the fact that she only uses one club. But my problem with this show is actually that the voice acting is so terrible. Like, it sounds like this show was dubbed back in the 1990s. I don't know why that is. I haven't looked into who the voice actors are or who licensed this anime or anything, but the voice acting is just really bad, and that's my biggest problem with the show. So we'll find out if I drop it after the 3rd episode or if I decide to continue on with it. We'll see. But yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking. I don't know who does the voices. Maybe I can find that out. But apparently, the company that licensed it is something called Ramau. I don't know how it's pronounced. Who I haven't actually heard of before. So I don't know how that's. I'm more surprised that it's streaming on Amazon Prime, and I'm like, wait, they have anime on that? I mean, well, obviously they have anime, but what I mean is I'm kind of surprised that they had it and like a new series premiering on it. It also had a simuldub, which is that's kind of surprising. Maybe that's part of the reason, because you have to do stuff faster when you do that. I mean, I've definitely heard people complain that they think that in the era of like the simuldubs, that the dubs aren't quite as good as they used to be because they can't take more time with them. But at least, like, you know, in some of these cases, I think the ones that just do simuldubs, that's mostly Crunchy. It depends on how simultaneously you mean. If we mean same day, that's like more extreme than just like a few weeks later. But I don't know, if it's like a company that hasn't really done much before and they're doing a same day one, that might be a reason for that. Now, let me see if I can look up information on voice actors. Let's see. I'm looking on Anime News Network. That's usually one of the best places to try to find the list of people, but it doesn't list any one for them. It just says like English cast, and then there's no one listed there. Now, maybe it's because it's not public knowledge. Maybe it's just not a series that got enough attention for someone to go in and add the information, but I don't know who did the voices.
Yeah, for a while I couldn't even find it on my anime list. The show itself, I eventually got up there. I think I tried submitting it, and then they're like, rejected, but then it was up there. So eventually they got it. Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, I unfortunately don't really know that much about golf clubs. I mean, I know there's a putter, and I know that there's a bunch of ones that are called iron and have a number next to them. And I know you use putters for the greens, but the rest I don't know. If you were playing regular golf courses and you only were able to use one club, which I assume a lot of people who play golf, maybe they only have one club because they're doing it for fun and don't want to spend a bunch of money on them. But if there's only one you could use, what would be the best one if there's only one?
Probably a mid-iron, so something like in between 4-iron, 5-iron, 6-iron, 7-iron. That's probably the best. You'd be able to get at least a little decent drive off the tee. You'd be able to hack out of any situation on the rough or in a bunker, and certainly on a fairway. And it's probably better at putting, but I can see someone playing with a 3-iron, but like even the ways they were showing her do it, it didn't make much sense. And anyway, her putting in the anime was actually pretty bad. So it wasn't really giving a ringing endorsement to using just one club. I guess she uses that one club because it's like her father's last gift to her. It's not because her little sister or her older brother got reincarnated as that club. So, unfortunately, it isn't that.
I don't even know if that manga is still going on. The only reason I remembered it was because its name was so crazy that I remembered it.
Now it's going to be a part of Toonami Therapy lore.
Anyway, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's also into our world, but honestly, maybe it's mostly the way the title was said that was kind of weird to me. Like, the concept itself at this point isn't that weird. Look, we've got reincarnated as a sword. We've got reincarnated as an apple. We've got it's that reincarnated as a virus story. Yeah, that's the name of it. It's that what?
Vending machine too.
Yeah. Reborn as a vending machine. I now roam the dungeon. Those are the craziest ones I can think of off hand in terms of being reincarnating. In fact, honestly, compared to a bunch of those other ones, reincarnated as a sword. That one I actually have watched a bit of. If I finish it, I'll probably give a review of it or something. But that one, that seems the most sensical of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
A sword. That's something that you have in fantasy settings. It's not, just. I mean, the vending machine one, you just know that's kind of a joke. Just reborn as a vending machine. I now roam the dungeon. I wasn't huge on it, but I have to at least, they went for it with that. They at least obviously knew this was something silly. Yeah. What are I'm trying to remember. Are there any other weird sorry about the coughing reborn series like that? Let me see. I can't think of any offhand, but yeah, I'm not going to go through all of them, but those are like the weirdest ones ones that I can remember that I've already mentioned. Okay, so yeah, I don't have anything else to add in regards to that. So maybe I will next week, but in the meantime, that's our talk about anime for next week. We'll just have the same stuff. We'll be finishing Shangri-La Frontier. The first season will end. We'll watch that one. Although it is coming back later this year, so we might check that out. And then we'll have all the rest of the things. So that's our series for now. And yeah, that's anime. I guess if there's anything completely unrelated to anime, like maybe an end of The Amazing Race, that we'll talk about that now. But if you're just here for anime, you can leave, and don't worry, this is the last episode of this season of The Amazing Race. So if you're one of those people if you're annoyed about us maybe talking a little about it at the end, then, we'll be done for now after this. Anyway, that's it. Done with anime. Let's move on. Anything you wanted to say about the big epic conclusion to this season of The Amazing Race?
Well, actually, I didn't watch last week's episode, and then I decided I was just going to suffer through the final episode and see what happened, and it was exactly as I predicted what would go down. Yeah, this season felt kind of rigged because it seemed like every time they did something, they're like, "Oh yeah," like the winning team. It's like, "Oh yeah, I used to live here when I was a kid. Oh yeah, I speak the language. Oh yeah, I've done this before." And it was after a while, it was like, okay, there's something weird about this that one team seems to have a leg up on every other team, and then they win 7 legs of the race, and it's like, yeah, something's not right here. So I don't know. I used to think Survivor was fixed, but then after a while, there were too many unlikable people who won that I threw that out the window. But if there was ever a season of Amazing Race that was fixed, this would be the one.
Well, let's see. So you didn't see? Yeah, there were 2 episodes because of the days we recorded this being different meant that there were 2 episodes we went over. The first one of them, the one you didn't see, I actually thought a lot of it was pretty good and might have been one of the best episodes of the season, except for the fact they spent way too much time with the characters playing was it baseball? I think it was baseball. There was some baseball challenge and that kind of went on a bit long. But other than that, it was pretty interesting. But yeah, on the whole, it wasn't that thing of one. It's also, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like they didn't have the usual they always in like the final or second to final episode have that like thing where you have to remember all the stuff about where you went and the challenges. And did they have one of those in these? I don't feel like.
Nope, they didn't. Okay. A lot of people were complaining about that too. So yeah, they usually have one. I guess it had something to do with COVID restrictions. Remember that this season was taped before the last season we saw, but I still don't think COVID is a good enough excuse for this season sucking so bad. So I'm not buying that as an excuse. They're gonna have to come up with something better than that.
I mean, like the season where they literally had to halt midway through the season because of COVID, and then like later on just called the people back and went on with the race. Like that was good. They were able to handle it well. So
that was one of the better seasons, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think I don't think like maybe COVID caused some problems. Maybe that was a reason why every country except for I think one was Spanish speaking. It was like all Latin and South America basically. Well, actually no, South America is part of Latin America, so it was all Latin America basically. Which I think was kind of made things more boring. But yeah, it might be that they just, even if they did better before with COVID, this time things were different and it was harder, or they weren't able to compensate for things. I don't know, but it definitely on the whole was a fairly lackluster season, unfortunately. Hopefully it will be better. Although, next season, I mean. Although, when you mentioned the thing about it being possibly rigged, that reminded me of something funny I found out. So, while I was watching the episode, of course, they're advertising for a bunch of other series, and they mentioned that there's going to be one called, on CBS called The Summit, I think it was called. They advertised for
you're
them.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, and now The Summit, that's a reality show. It was an Australian reality show, and it was about people. They have to like reach the top of this mountain, and they undergo a bunch of things. People get eliminated along the way in various things. It looked like it might be interesting, but I remember I was looking at the Australian one, and it's currently airing its second season, and apparently in the second season, in one of the episodes, one of the people in it like just quit. They just said, "I think this show is rigged," and quit midway through it.
Really? Wow.
That's what the summary of the episodes on Wikipedia tell me. It says for episode 3 of season 2, it's like saying Sharksea, however, pulls the producer to the side and claims the game is rigged after failing to cross the ravine and decides to withdraw from the competition.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently one of the contestants just withdrew because they thought that they thought that it was rigged somehow. I don't know if it was or not. I've never seen this show. I just looked it up. The premise sounds potentially interesting, so maybe the U.S. version of it will be interesting. We'll see, but that was just a little funny to for someone to actually. I don't know if that's happened before. As someone on like a reality show just midway through said, "I think this is rigged and don't want to do it anymore," and just quit.
Yeah, I've heard of a Survivor person saying it was rigged, but not quitting.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that they convinced someone else to vote her out. But I can't ever remember that. Unfortunately, we don't get the Amazing Race next fall. Instead, we get the Summit. So that's disappointing. Hopefully the Summit will crash in the ratings and then they'll be forced to cancel like they did that pirate reality show. Remember they did a Pirate Master or something? It was about being a pirate, and that show got canceled like halfway through. And so hopefully that happens. But Survivor, I don't think is going to get canceled anytime soon because it's continuing to dominate in the 18 to 49 range. And which is so funny because it's like so many people who are watching it weren't alive whenever the show began, and yet it's still getting those really good ratings. So, yeah, we don't have to worry about Survivor, at least not right now.
Oh yeah, I just looked it up. Yeah, that series premiered in 2000.
Yeah.
And we've got a total of 46 seasons because they do 2 seasons each year.
Yeah.
It's so funny when you look back and realize, oh, wow, in that first season, the idea of alliance was actually a revolutionary idea that actually totally changed the way everyone was playing the game. And now it's like, that would kind of back then have been like a twist. And now it's just what everyone knows happens in the show.
Yeah, and now it's gotten to the point where people turn on their own alliances all the time. It's like every single vote is a complete shock to whoever gets voted out. So, like, it's evolved so much over the years where it isn't so much your alliance versus their alliance like it used to be. Now it's kind of like, well, who do I feel like voting with tonight? And if you don't, if you end up on the wrong side of the vote, usually you end up apologizing to whoever it was you voted for who didn't go home. So, yeah, this season so far, 5 people have had idols and forgotten to use them or been too arrogant to use them or whatever. Just haven't used them 5 times and got voted out. So, yeah.
I was looking up some stuff about the Pirate Master series because I didn't know anything about it. That was, oh wow, yeah, that's an old one. That was back in 2007. I was thinking, despite it being canceled midway through, it went an Emmy Award in the category of Outstanding Original Main Title Theme Music. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that. Look up the music because I wonder how it was. That's just yeah. You got canceled, but you won an Emmy on music.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It reminds me of when there's this episode of Star Trek Voyager called Threshold. It's usually considered one of the. It's it's definitely considered one of the worst, often the worst episode of the series. It's the one where Tom Paris is able to break the warp barrier and goes like beyond the warp thing, except it starts turning me into this weird salamander, and then he infects Janeway and she turns that, and they both end up on this planet, and they find them and they're turned into salamanders, and apparently they had salamander babies along the way. But then they all get turned, but they get turned back to normal, and then none of it is ever spoken of again. Anyway, the reason I bring that up, is because despite being considered a terrible episode, the guy who wrote it, I think, said it was a royal steaming stinker. It did it win, or did it get nominated for like makeup or something? Or special effects. Hang on, I gotta look this up again. Let's see. Well, I think it won something, but I can't remember exactly what. I can't find it offhand. No one's listening to us at this point anyway. If you were here, you're here for the anime, so who cares? Let me see if I can find
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, right. Threshold. It won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Makeup for a Series. So that, because apparently they were impressed by the makeup they did for like the process of them turning into the lizards. But other than that, it's considered to be one of the worst episodes of the series. Okay. So, yeah, there sometimes funny things can happen there. All right, so that's it for this season of The Amazing Race. I don't know if whether, even if the summit flops, if that means we'll get it earlier. It's do we actually have the let's see. Okay, it was they did renew it for a new season. Yeah, just 2 weeks ago. I missed it. It's a 37th season set to air in spring 2025. Wow, that's 1 year from now. Maybe it'll be brought in earlier to replace something canceled, or not. I guess it'll depend on how far they are in production. You know, if they're all good, then sure. But if not, it won't.
Yeah, if there's another strike or something, they got to always be ready for that. That's where, like, I heard that ABC is literally showing 5 new scripted shows next fall. Like, I don't think 5 new ones. I think I just means 5 total. 5 total scripted shows. They're going with so much unscripted stuff that it's that low. So CBS, I think, is like 14 or something, but ABC is literally going with 5. That's how much they cut back.
Yeah, let me I'm looking at an article here. Let's see. It will feature 1 full night of scripted programming, 1 comedy music. Let's see, it's a little trying to see what it's talking about in regards to. It doesn't give me a clear number, but yeah, it looks like ABC is going to be pretty low on scripted series. So yeah, we've got okay, so here's like the stuff. Yeah, well, might as well babble on as long as we're on.
Yeah,
here.
Go ahead.
Sure. The list for ABC next fall, we've got on Monday. Okay, so we've got Monday Night Football. Obvious, that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Then on Tuesday we've got Dancing with the Stars, and it says 2 hours of it, and a new series called High Potential. That's going to be a scripted one, I think. Then we've got, let's see, The Golden Bachelorette. What makes it golden?
I think it's that the person is really rich.
Well, I thought they were aren't they always really rich on The Bachelor and Bachelorette?
I don't know. I've never seen this show, so maybe they're older. I don't know.
Okay, I found it. The Golden Bachelor. This must just be the spinoff of that. The difference for the Golden Bachelor is that it features a cast of everyone on the show apparently are well, let's see. All the people on the show are senior citizens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was my second guess.
Yeah.
Second guess.
Golden Bachelor, yeah, it starred a 72-year-old Gary Turner and stuff. Yeah, he proposed to someone. They aired their wedding as a live special. They divorced 3 months later. How many people on The Bachelor or Bachelorette have actually stuck together? I know at least one couple actually did, but I don't know how.
Was that really popular woman who like got her own show and everything? There was like this really popular bachelorette who got married on TV and was like, I forget what her name was though.
Okay, let's see. All right, so yeah, okay, so I'm looking at some. We've got yeah, okay, so here's one that yeah, I'm looking at one from like these people 20 years later they're still together, so that's I'm not going to go through all these. I'm just going to count how many of these. Oh, it looks like there's still a decent number of these that I'm seeing, although there's also been a lot of let's see. Yeah, well, it looks like there's actually a decent number of people on this series who at least according to Cosmopolitan listed them as still being together. This information is from last month. I'm not sure how many of these are. Some of these, are people who were more recent, so it doesn't necessarily mean the most. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many. Some obviously, if it was just at the end of it, that doesn't necessarily mean much. But yeah, some of these people, their series aired long ago and they're still together. So okay, it works for some of them. That's something. I've always kind of thought that that you kind of have to be kind of crazy to go on one of those shows to look for romance. But the thing is, the other person would have to be crazy to be on it also to look for romance. So there's compatibility. Yeah. All right. So back to the list of things. So we had the Golden Bachelorette. Then we have Abbott Elementary. I think that's scripted. Scamanda. Yeah. That I think is scripted. Hang on. Let me actually scroll back and make sure I'm counting these. Okay, so that's 3. We've got 911. I think that's unscripted. We got Dr. Odyssey, Grey's Anatomy.
No, 911 is scripted.
Oh, it is scripted?
It came from Fox.
Oh, okay. So that looks like it's 6. Friday, we've got Shark Tank in 2020. Isn't 2020 scripted? Well, no, it's not. I don't know exactly how a series like 2020 counts as scripted or unscripted, because it's kind of like a documentary show. And then we've got Saturday is just college football, and Sunday is America's Funniest Home Videos and The Wonderful World of Disney. So there's more scripted series than we thought, but there definitely is not a very big amount of them. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of unscripted things, and then there's whatever you want 2020 to count as. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, I think that's basically all right. I think that can kind of wrap it up because we have been going on for a while now. But maybe this was interesting to someone. Maybe sometime later we can look at what the other show channels are watching. The funny thing is that I go through all this and I don't really watch that much network TV. I watch The Amazing Race, and that's kind of mostly it. I should go back and rewatch and like get back into watching some of Shark Tank, because that was a fun show, and maybe check out some other things. But mostly I just watch anime nowadays. So yeah, okay. All of that done. Anything else to add, or shall we just leave now?
That's all I've got.
All right, everyone. Wow, we ended up talking way longer than I expected, but a lot of that was just our tangents. Well, I guess that's everything then. So we'll all see you next week, and we'll try to do better and maybe be a little shorter.
Bye.
Even though Season 1 of Ninja Kamui is over,
you can keep the fight alive with Shinobi Origins.
Suit up and kick some serious ass.
Ninja Kamui Shinobi Origins for the Switch is available for pre-order now.
G.I. Joe's new Merc technology is flawless.
Never seen anything like it.
The only problem is, Cobra Commander thinks so too.
With such a craft, my Cobra legions would be unstoppable.
Snake Eyes must infiltrate Cobra headquarters and get it back. It's gonna be a fight.
Let's lock and load, people!
G.I. Joe, Spy Troops, coming up next. Yo, Joe.